Further, in the concluding lines of the purport, Prabhupada talks about the impersonalist concept being subordinate to the personalist concept. And Prabhupada quotes this verse from the fifth verse from the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. In the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna was asked by Arjuna. We see in the Bhagavad Gita questions and answers, just like they prepare for the students question and answer books in different subject matters. So Arjuna is asking questions that normally we would ask, and Krishna is giving replies for our benefit. So Arjuna asked, what is superior? Meditating on your personal form or meditating on the impersonal? And Krishna replied, of the two, meditating on my personal form is more superior. And Krishna explained that meditating on the impersonal aspect is very difficult and very troublesome. Therefore, Krishna's advice is we should approach the Lord in his personal aspect. So the Lord is present in his Archa Vigraha form, just like we have these deities on the altar. Someone less intelligent may come and say, these are just statues. But a devotee knows that the Lord incarnates in the Archa Vigraha form. And this Archa Vigraha form is non-different from the Lord. Nirguna and Saguna. The Lord takes on form. The Lord's form is never material. And similarly, a deity form, thou art made of brass, iron, wood, whatever ingredients, is not to be considered material because the deity has been carved according to the description in the scriptures and installed by a bona fide spiritual master with the recitation of proper mantras and yagya. And then this form of the Lord is non-different from the Lord. So Prabhupada is making the point that the impersonal aspect is subordinate to the personal aspect. And the very theme of this chapter, Purusha Shukta, confirmed, is to establish that the Lord in the ultimate sense is a Purusha. He's the Adi Purush. What does Adi Purush mean? The original person. So he's a Purusha. He's a form. He has a form. But the Lord's form should not be misunderstood by a tiny brain. The Lord's form is always transcendental. Just like those who misinterpret Krishna's Rasa Leela, for example. They think Krishna was an ordinary personality. If he can do this Rasa Leela, why can't I do it? But before Vyasadeva presents the information on the Rasa Leela, he has very clearly established Krishna's supreme position by first presenting his childhood pastimes. And when you read how a small child can show the whole universe in his mouth to his mother, how he can lift a gigantic hill, how he can kill such powerful demons. Even the Brajvasis at that time were amazed when they would hear Krishna's transcendental pastimes. When Mother Yasoda heard that, her son had pulled down two huge trees which were in the courtyard. She was just amazed. And she asked, how did these trees fall? And the other coward boy said, your son pulled these trees down. And then she said, how is it possible? How can my young son who's crawling pulled down two huge trees, got mistaken. They must have fallen due to the wind, due to the strong wind. So, due to the Yogamaya potency of the Lord, even his closest relatives could not recognize the supreme position. But Krishna, when he was performing these childlike pastimes, the Brijvasis were thinking, except Balaram, everybody knew who Krishna was. Except Balaram, no one knew Krishna's pure identity. And they were thinking, these Brijvasis, maybe he's a demigod. Maybe he has special blessings of the Supreme. But no one could understand he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like Krishna was wrapped up in Kaliya's coils. And in all the Brijvasis, when they saw Krishna wrapped up in Krishna and Kaliya's coils, they almost fainted, like a hurricane destroys trees. But only Balaram knew, nothing to worry. And then Krishna, when he saw that the Brijvasis were depressed, heartbroken, it's because they thought that his life was in danger. Then to free the Brijvasis of anxiety, Krishna expanded himself to the point that Kaliya had to release him. So the point is, the Supreme Lord is a person. The Supreme Lord, when he comes, he performs superhuman activities, and the Supreme Lord always remains a person. Now, the impersonalists, they're not demons. At least they are transcendentalists in some sense. At least they have some codes of conduct and ethics. But, unfortunately, they limit God's abilities. They try to understand God with a tiny brain, and hence they're doing great disservice. That's why Lord Chaitanya advised us to stay away from the association of impersonals because of their insulting mentality towards the Lord. Insulting in the sense, God, you can't see, you can't hear, you can't walk, you can't talk. Of course the Lord can. But the impersonal aspect is subordinate to the personal aspect. And Prabhupada is a good example of seeing a mountain top from a distance. You will see a mountain top from a distance. You may just see some things from a distance. But if you get closer, you will see there's some variety. And if you go on the top, you'll be able to see complete variety. Prabhupada gave another example, which you must be familiar with, of a train entering a village for the first time. So the train was they just made a new platform and put new railway tracks. So the train was coming into a village for the first time, and the villagers decided, instead of the whole village going there, we'll just send 3 people who will see and report. So the first person just saw the light in front of the engine and ran back and said, this is what a train looks like. The second person stayed a little longer, saw the light in the engine, and then ran back and said what he thought the train looked like. And the third person saw the light, saw the engine, saw the compartments, saw the train leave, and then he went back and gave his version. So of the 3, whose version would be most complete? First, second, third? The third person. So this is compared to Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan feature. So the Bhagavan feature of the Lord is most complete, and we can realize the Bhagavan feature by the process of devotional service and the impersonal process of self-realization, as stated by Krishna himself in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita text 5. It's very difficult, especially in this age. So, there's this process of Krishna consciousness, establishes the personal form of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness